Go get on the track.
Welcome to Convinced and Confident. My name is Sarah Gilmore, and my co-host is Tamara Bluedorn. And each week we bring to you an inspiring message or person that will help you on your journey to self-discovery.
We are coming into the new year, and everyone wants to improve his life for the coming year. And oftentimes that's financially. Our guest today is Thaddeus Jenkins, better known to all of us as TJ.
Hello.
TJ, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Great. It's
Good.
to have you today.
So a little bit about myself. Thaddeus TJ Jenkins. I am a serial entrepreneur. I mean a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing just about everything.
Yes.
I'm also a marketing advertising executive. I am an entrepreneurship instructor. And I also host a mastermind called the Thaddeus Jenkins Entrepreneurship Mastermind.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness, that is a lot to do. But you're young and you're supposed to be at it like that. You have a company called Rygen Company, I believe.
Yes.
And our topic today is plan to profit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you like to talk
That's
about.
what I love to talk about.
I know you do. So tell me a little bit about the Rygen Company. Or was that where you started business or what?
So the Rygen Company is my marketing and advertising agency, full service agency. And through that platform, I learned how to grow companies. You know, I realized early on that not only were companies struggling with marketing, but the bigger problem was that they didn't have the business side of it. They didn't know how to plan to make a profit. So although we're a full service marketing advertising agency, we also help people plan out their business and their business structure. Okay. Because I can bring 1 million people to your business, but if your structure and your infrastructure internally is not operating, that 1 million people I bring through the door doesn't matter.
They will leave.
They will leave. They will say, hey, I'm not satisfied. It's not a great deal. It's not a great offer. So a lot of times people don't need marketing. A lot of times what they need is structure, then marketing.
So you teach them how to structure that business so that they can profit.
Profit. Exactly.
That's an excellent idea. I don't really know of a lot of companies who will do that, specifically for small business.
No, and specifically they won't. What they say is, hey, give me your money for marketing or I can consult you on a few things. And a lot of times it doesn't click to small businesses of why you need a consultant. But if I can add that element and say, hey, even though I'm doing your marketing, let me consult you on the way for around that same juncture in price, that makes you say, oh, okay, well, I didn't think I needed, but now I understand why I need it.
Right. I understand because with the gym that I own, I've spent more money than I should working with people that say they can help me or this is how you do it, Tamara, especially with the whole click funnel and all of that. And I'm like, but they're not helping me and showing me what I'm by myself. I don't know what to do and I'm not an expert at this. Could somebody come here, please, or talk to me, please, about all of it?
And a lot of times in small business, we don't have a lot of money at all.
Exactly.
So we're trying to figure out what to do that's effective. And if we're going to spend money on something, it has to work.
Yes.
Must work.
How long have you been in business?
I've been in business over 15 years.
As young as you are?
Yes. I've been in business over 15 years with this marketing advertising agency. Previously, before, I owned a promotions company. Okay. So we did street team work for record labels. We worked movies, did street work for movies. So Barbershop 1 and 2, Bad Company, Chris Rock, Dennis Hoffman. We had one of the highest gross turnouts within the region for those movies.
Very good. Mm-hmm. I've heard you talk about how you actually got started in business and that you were in a small room in your mama's house.
Yes.
Story. I think most of us can identify with something like that.
So I moved back from college. I was supposed to be an optometrist. I was supposed to be taking my courses for optometry school. Two courses shy. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if optometry is for me. I was like, I'm really an entrepreneur. And so I moved back in with my mom and dad to take these classes. And then I said, you know what? Let me keep doing what I do best. So I had a promotions company. I was booking shows for different venues, concert shows and stuff for artists, heavily involved in the music side.
And it's something you love.
Something I love.
Yes.
And literally, I was able to get that call one day that said, hey, I know somebody. They're looking for a promotion. And literally, when I tell you this, I moved everything back from college. So there was nothing in my room. Only thing that could fit is a bed and a dresser. And that was it. So it was no room for me to put a chair. I had to sit on my knees, and I had, you lean against the bed like you're praying, and that's where I was working off one laptop, and I had a fax machine. Everything was coming through the fax machine, and it was like a small little office.
But that is literally how many people start.
Yes,
people start in their garages and those kinds of
things.
Yes,
and so I started in the back room. I borrowed, and this is the point when I got my biggest client, even today. It started as my first client. Okay. And when I got a call, I didn't even, at that point in time, I was like, times is rough. I didn't have $100 to open up a bank account. And when I asked my dad, can I borrow $100? And he's just like, for what? And I was like, I need to open up a bank account for this thing. I wrote the contract myself because my degree was in technical professional communications, technical writing. Okay. So I wrote the contract myself. And he says, so he gave it to me, I think, knowing that I may not get this back.
Right.
And I said, I just need to open up a bank account so I can get the wire to come in.
Father to son.
And he said, all right, here you go. And I said, I'll pay you back next week. He was like, Next week I paid him back plus interest.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Awesome. That was impressive.
And I went from my room to the kitchen table to my office.
And you have a nice place. That is a nice place. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
What has made you stick with it, though? Yeah. It's 15 years. What made you, I call it stick-to-it-ability?
Exactly. So there are the ups and the downs. Yeah, and if you ever made a payroll and if you ever struggled in business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Absolutely. There's those times where it is great. Life is great. You got the financial freedom. You have the time freedom. Everything lines up. And then there are those times where you're like, why am I even doing this?
Yes. Yes.
So I'll tell you, so me having kids now, and I started late, so my kids are young, and having that financial freedom and that time freedom has literally made me say, what do I want to do in life? Do I want to pass down something to my kids? Do I want to be able to be present at my kids' events at school? Or do I want to Daddy can't get off work? So I said, I've worked all these many years setting this up so I can do this for my kids and my family and have the time to do it. And then when it comes to that point, you're thinking is this even worth it? But then those things, when I look at my kids, I said, okay, this is why Daddy got to get up and keep going.
They make it worth it.
They make it worth it. So that day I want to sleep in an extra hour. No, let me go ahead and get up. Let me go and get this. And those days begin to be the grind. But then this is also the part. There's not many of us that look like us who are doing what we do. Okay. So if I quit, I'm letting down an entire community and a lot of followers who are trying to be leaders. Absolutely. So I have to lead the example. So mentoring a lot of small businesses and see what they have done really, really keeps me going because I'm like, man, that can be $1 million company tomorrow if they just had structure or they did this, these smaller tweaked things. And I said, I've done it for the smaller companies and made them large corporations. But when they get to be a large corporation, they kind of lose sight of you.
Yes.
So, I kind of had to reach back and say, this is the reason why I get up and do it is because my job is to impact small businesses and people who look like us.
I like that. And I can identify with that with helping with the family business. That it did give us the freedom to be with our children.
Yes.
The freedom to still have the freedom of money. You can dictate how much is coming in and what you want. Yeah. But at the same time, you can corral the family around and they see it. And like you, I'm learning that there's people watching me.
Right. That's
Sometimes
right.
They don't say anything until something comes up and they say, well, we've been watching you to marry this. And it's like, what? Yes. Am I really making that much of an impact?
Yes.
It makes you say, okay, let's keep this together and do what we came here.
And I would tell you this, one of the things that got me was my kids on vacation. Okay. So, I felt like my parents did the best that they can do to expose me and to get and to expose me to traveling over the world.
Yes.
And going on vacations, things that make you want to do better and more.
Absolutely.
And me and my wife both wanted the same thing for our kids. So now my kids, we call them spoiled. They equate when we say we're packing a suitcase and are going to a hotel, they equate that to vacation. Okay. So even if I say I'm going a state over and we stay in the night, to them, that's vacation.
Very good.
And it's like little things that I started looking at. I remember we were in Mexico at a wedding, and my son said, we came back, and my son said, Dad, don't worry about the bags. Just like the guy bring the bags up.
Oh.
And then when we got back home, he told me, he said, can we said, what about room service? Can we order room service? I'm like, son, you're 6. At that age, I had no concept of what room service or a bellman was.
Right.
We were just happy to go out of the state.
Right. But what you're teaching your children is what I always say about Prince Charles's children.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching them to expect the best and that they deserve the best. Therefore, they will work towards getting the best.
The best,
always.
exactly,
Oh, excellent.
exactly. My I can name my guy. Me and my best friend, we talk about this all the time. I can name my guy kids. They are in 16 and 13, and they have been to more vacation spots in more countries than I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And but here's the thing, like they, when I ask them, what do you want to do? What do you want to be in life? Now they're saying, well, Uncle TJ, I want to do this, this. And I'm like, why? It's because I want to have the financial freedom to go on vacation and do what I need to do. So they've grasped that concept.
Mm-hmm.
So for them early, it puts them on another pedestal and level of learning where they say, I can't do the bare minimum.
No.
My expectations are high.
And don't we need that in the community?
We definitely do. Exposure. Exposure is the biggest detriment of our community.
It is.
Yep. Exposure.
We just don't know. Now, marketing is your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have taken some business from almost 0 to 100 or 1,000. Can you talk a little bit about what you've done? You've taken a business and
so I'm gonna talk about this in 2 different businesses.
Okay.
One was a local business right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
He came to me. He said you have a bigger client, and everywhere your client has a store here, I have a store. So he had 4 locations. It was in the financial arena.
Okay.
And he says 4 stores regionally. He says, so you know our customer. He said, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I've spent countless money on marketing, advertising. It just doesn't work for me. And I told him this, and I probably never say this again, but I told him, I said, you give me $1,000 a month for 3 months. If it doesn't work out, we can call it quits. He said, man, I spend $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Yet I give you that. And I said, no problem. And I literally looked at his books, broke down his data, and I created a marketing plan for him within that budget. And he increased so the year prior, his total revenue was $467,000.
Okay.
Within month 2, he called me back and said, man, I need to increase my budget. And I said, why? He said, I'm on pace already. He said, within a few months, he said, I'm on pace to do 1.2 this year.
Are you serious?
Wow.
He said, if we keep this up, I'm on pace to do 1.2.
And how many months was that?
Month 2.
2 months.
2 months.
That's
2 months.
Excellent.
He said, man, I don't know how you did it. I can't call heads or tails. I don't care.
No,
I just want to
you
increase
don't
what
care.
we're doing.
Right.
So he literally, and this is a true story. He took this platform and he said, he went to his corporation. He was a franchisee.
Mm-hmm.
When his corporation says, I'm leaving. And they said, no, you can't leave. He said, yes, another competitor has offered me a job at their establishment. My marketing guy is coming with me. And this is what I want for you all to stay. They were like, no, we're not giving you this. You got to non-compete. So he got his attorney and they put together an agreement about what the bigger parent company did not do for the franchisees.
Okay.
Sued them, $8 million and moved back to Florida.
Wow.
And what he told me was, I feel like that I got way more out of this deal than you did. So he coached me. He was a business coach at the same time. He coached me and became my business coach. And he coached me not about business. He said, you know the intricacies of business. What you need coaching on is time. So he coached me about how to break up and provide time that would allow me to do other things and set things up in systems.
Wonderful.
And those systems helped me with my other clients as well. Everything is based in the system. He said, man, me and my wife can go on vacation and my business runs better while I'm on vacation than it is when I'm there.
And that's what every business owner wants to do. Everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second scenario was my first client and still been my biggest client. I took them, they were small. They had been in business a year and a half before they met me. They gave the biggest agency in the state of Georgia. They gave them $1 million up front a year prior. Okay. And end of the year, they had no new revenue.
$1 million up front.
Up front, had no new revenue.
Wow.
And I came in when I met them, put together promotion, what I've always done, included music industry and everything I've ever done, included put together promotion. They went from 12 million to 65 million in 6 months. And then within 1 year, they went to 125 million. So that's
in 6 months from 12 million to
65 million.
Wow.
Exactly. And they didn't know who their customer was. They said, we had a great model. Nobody knows about us.
Okay.
And so I came in to define their audience, how I put the who, what, when, where, why, and how behind why they market to their audience. Okay. So I dictated their audience. This is how we're going to reach them. These are the things that we're going to do. This increases foot traffic. And then let's take those channels that's working and let's really exploit them.
TJ, that's excellent. That is excellent.
So what do you think for small business? What should we be planning?
You should. Okay, so that's a great question. The first thing you got to do is plan around your infrastructure of your business. You got to look at internally how your infrastructure works first, and then plan your audience.
Okay.
So we skip as small business owner, we skip all of this.
Yes, we do.
The first thing we do is say we got a product or a service, and we jump straight into it.
That's what we do.
And trust me, I'm guilty of it as well.
We gotta make some money.
We gotta make some money. We know it's great, right?
Yeah. But that is not the way this goes, because what you're going to end up doing is backtracking and saying, I've been selling to this person, trying to sell to this person, this entity, and that's not even really my audience. Okay. Like, my audience is this group, and this is really who I need to be going after. Okay. Or we focus so much on one thing with that revenue stream that we don't realize that there's 5, 6 other revenue streams that come from it. And we have to really exploit those things that we don't think or may not think that works. A lot of times those things do work very, very heavy. So, for a lot of business owners, and I give you this great example, Airbnb, it was a conference that was going on out west somewhere. And how Airbnb got started was the conference was sold out, and the only thing that was left for hotels were very expensive hotels. And somebody said, man, I want to be at this conference, but the only way I can go is if I can afford it, and I can't. So I would pay anything to sleep on somebody's couch. So a guy overheard somebody saying that. He put a ad on Craigslist he said, I got an air mattress for sale, for rent on my living room floor, and somebody bought it.
Wow.
And that's how he came up with the concept for Airbnb.
I did not know that.
That's an uncanny idea.
Exactly. So but it worked. So he did the necessary thing. The first thing he said was, okay, I have an audience, people who are trying to get to this conference who don't want to spend a lot of money. So he looked at affordability, and he looked at exactly who he was marketing to. Okay. And that's how he came up with the concept. So instead of just saying, I'm just going to sell air mattresses to people that want to sleep on the living room floor, he went an extra step and said, no, I've defined an audience, people who are in need of this, and this is where. So conferences are the ideal place for me to provide this service. Yes. And then he came up with a concept and said, hey, well, if people would do this for their home, because I know I did, if people do this for their home, that's an extra revenue stream that they can have.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. So he went back and defined audience, and he went back and defined his plan of action.
I like it. So that will lead us to the profit.
The profit, yes. Okay. So, and I spoke about this at a conference that I spoke at. It's like we do not plan to profit. We say, I'm planning to start this business. I'm planning to put my product out today. But a lot of times, we do not plan to profit. And I say this because I speak wholeheartedly about this. We provide a service, we want to get paid. So people give us money, but we haven't earned that dollar. So in order to really profit, we really have to set out a plan to say, this is how I'm going to adequately portray my business to the public. This is how I'm going to provide the service. Once I provide the service, this is how I'm going to continue to provide the service. So somebody can give you some money and you can just break even, but that's not profiting. So you want to make sure that you have everything in line. You want to make sure you have an upsell when it comes to it. You want to have the bare baseline that you would go down on the product and price for and not compromise on it. I tell people a lot of times, why do you want a discount on your offer? If you have a great product, there's no need to discount on your offer. Your offer should speak for itself. People will buy it if you plan to profit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. That's an excellent way to look at it.
Yes, I like it. So I have one last major question.
No, indeed.
What makes you convinced and confident?
What makes me convinced and confident? Because I have done it. time and time out, people are bamboozled by other people. There are 50 million people out here who says they're a life coach, they are a business coach, they are this. But what experience do you have? And I tell everybody, check the person who's giving you advice, check their resume. If they can adequately say, show me where you did X to X and it's documented. So I'm not listening, and this is the truth. I'm not listening to nobody who hasn't done it before. Because if you haven't been through my trials and tribulations, there's not much you can tell me. If you are struggling with cash flow, I need to talk to somebody who went through the cash flow issue and how they went out of it.
Absolutely.
Like there's nothing in the classroom that somebody can teach me if they have never ran a business before. And so, I of course, I'm an entrepreneurship instructor, so I teach this as well. The first thing I say is if you're a professor that has a PhD in business and never ran a business before, it's only but a certain level that he can take you and tell you. Like, so, he can tell you the philosophy and the fundamentals behind it, but he can't tell you the how to, the why, how to get out of this. He can't tell you how to adequately prepare your financial statements in order to go to a bank and be taken seriously. And more importantly, even if you do that you still probably not going to get financed.
That's right.
So what are the alternative ways to build and grow a business? Yeah. So I tell everybody, my experience makes me the most confident person ever. I'm cocky when it comes to it because I've earned that right to be cocky when it comes to business.
If you haven't walked a mile in my shoes.
That's right. That's right.
Keep
Look,
quiet for a moment.
I've telling everybody, I have a lot of people say, man, I see you doing this, I see you doing it. And I'm telling everybody, it's no cakewalk. Now, don't get this wrong. I've spent 24 hours in my office before, plenty of nights.
Yes.
And I've done that just to make sure that I've had my stuff together.
Yes.
A lot of people are not willing to put in that time and effort.
That's right.
So in order to be an entrepreneur, small business owner, you have to put in the time.
Excellent.
There are 12-hour days that consistently for years I did. And that's why I waited late in life to have kids because, I can remember going in the office at 8:00 and I'm not leaving till 8, 9, 10 o'clock every night. That was just the way of the world. And then, and then a lot of times when I met my wife, I was in the air twice a week.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of stuff that you have to do to go through it. But if I had never put myself in that position, I couldn't tell you how to do it.
You're exactly right.
Yep.
I agree. And a lot of people, when they get excited or want to do the business, whatever it is, they're not willing to give
they're willing to give that time. And I meet a lot of people that say, oh, I'm doing this. And they're so excited. I'm going to make this. And I was like, don't put the cart before the horse. Make sure you get the finances laid out first, the structure laid out first. And then you can get excited. Like when you make a profit, not break even, when you make a profit, then you can get excited. Now, I'm not taking away your thunder, but it's just things that go into it beforehand. And not just one time. You have to find out how you can turn this system over repeatedly and still continue to be profitable.
That's exactly right.
That's what I find very interesting. And what you started, do it again.
Do it again, over and over and over.
Again.
Yeah. So. And this is why this is so important, is because after a certain amount of time, you're going to have to refine what you're doing to keep up with the times as well. So, businesses that were groomed in the 80s, they're not the same today. No. They had to refine their business structure in order to keep up. Technology happens. You have to literally keep up in order to maintain.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Thaddeus Jenkins, I appreciate it and had a lot of fun today with this podcast.
Yes.
So please, we're going to have you on again, all right?
Yes. Look. If any way I can be of any assistance, definitely let me know.
Yes. Tell us how we all can contact you.
Oh, they can get me. You can go to my website, buildingyourbusinessnow.com. You can get a free download, 6 power tips on how to run your business, on how to build your business now. You get a free download. And if you feel compelled there, you can sign up for my monthly mastermind there as well. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jenkins. That's our show. And we thank you for listening. If you like our show, Convinced and Confident, please leave us a rating and download us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play.